coach. Been a while. I mean, we see each other so much during the season. Don't see each other after the break, which it's nice, but it's not nice. I like seeing you around, but you get the little break at the end of the season. Did you do anything to just kind of hold back and enjoy any kind of vacation, Coach?
Yeah, so right after the Osceola season ended, went back up with Orlando, was with them for the playoff run in Cleveland. Great series. We played really well. Obviously, Game 7 didn't go our way, but just to be really cool to be a part of that experience. Having been with Orlando for the last few seasons before this last year in Osceola, and to see that growth, get that opportunity to, play in the playoffs was really cool. And then, after that, took about 4 days off, and then I was at the G League Elite Camp, kind of that pre-draft process in Chicago, and got to see some of the potential guys to move over to the NBA Combine, and then potentially in the G League next season, two-way guys, Exhibit 10. So that was kind of right after the season, and then I got a couple weeks off to just relax. But it's funny, after all the season of traveling and all that, a lot of people like to go away and vacation, but for me, honestly, I just wanted to sit on my couch and not go anywhere for a little bit. So took advantage of that, hung out with my wife, with my dog, and just took a load off for a minute.
Yeah, in retrospect, I wish I would have done that. I went ahead and just booked a crazy trip for Japan. Took off for 12 days, and I was going like 12 miles and walking a day. And I'd realized that's not an end-of-the-season vacation. That at the end of the season, you either need to sit at home, like you said, or go on a cruise ship somewhere and just hang out. But let's talk about the playoffs a little bit going over there. I mean, like you said, the environment in the Kia Center was electric. And I'm sure it was, for Cleveland and their fans over there, and just kind of the do-or-die situations. But is this your first stint in the playoffs? Did you do it with Orlando previously when you were with Coach Cliff?
I wasn't on the coaching staff at that point, but my first 2 years in the organization, so 2018 and 19, we had made the playoffs for the first time since Dwight Howard. That was the year we beat Toronto in Game 1, and then Toronto won 4 straight and ended up winning the title. And then the following season, I didn't go to the bubble, but we made the playoffs in the bubble and lost to Milwaukee.
Same style, gentleman's sweep over there.
Won Game 1, was feeling good, and then Milwaukee obviously is super tough. So
all the things online at the time frame were saying you never want to verse Game 1 Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
they've got your number.
Yeah.
How different was it seeing the atmosphere for the playoffs? I know, like you said, you weren't exactly on the coaching staff; you're still within the organization. But how different was it seeing it from that group, and not to take away from those gentlemen like Vucevic and Fournier, but from that regime with them and Aaron Gordon, as opposed to having Coach Mose here, having Paolo? You see it with a really young team. To me, it looked a lot different in the city.
Yeah, I mean, both were really exciting experiences. I know that first time we were there was cool just because the city hadn't been to the playoffs in so long. So that brought a lot of energy. This time, this group, a lot different just because we had been on this build since Coach Mose got here, and Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs were here from day one with Coach Mose, and so we kind of had that step-by-step linear growth. You don't always get that in the NBA. We had a rough first season, got some good individual growth from players, but obviously didn't translate to a lot of wins. And then the next year, we take Paolo first in the draft and end up winning, I think, 34 games. So we won, 10, 12 more games, and then making another jump this past season. So that was pretty cool just to see that. And then also, you just think about the runway that this Orlando team has with how young everybody is. It's just super exciting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's the stereotypical way that you think you're supposed to build a team and how it's supposed to go and hitting certain benchmarks. But it's actually happening in real time with the Orlando, which is just so cool. It's like you said, it doesn't always work out that way, but that's the way when I feel like you make the drawing board. You go, all right, year one, we're going to get our players that we kind of need from the draft, develop a little bit of talent, go up a couple games. Maybe the next year we hit the playoffs, and 9 times out of 10 it doesn't actually go that way. And this is that 1 time out of 10. So truly interesting. But we get another cool part of it is having lottery picks that are able to go play with you in Osceola as the head coach. So how was that for having a player like Jet? I mean, I know that it's going to start happening with all G League teams, as that's what the league has been trying to go for since day one, and we're starting to see it. I mean, this year we had 18 first round picks playing in the G League, so having a player like that develop, what was that kind of like having it with your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it can really go a bunch of different ways, and I think Jet deserves an unbelievable amount of credit for how he handled the season. I mean, he goes from the 11th pick in the draft to lottery pick. You know, a lot of his, fellow rookies, spent time in the G League, but many of them ended up back up with their NBA clubs off of assignment in the second half of the year, and Jet, stayed in Osceola. And it really had nothing to do with Jet's play. Jet played great for us. Orlando's just really deep right now, and so it was a great opportunity for him to grow his game and get on the floor and get some minutes. And I think the coolest part is he bought into us as a team and not just using Osceola for his own growth. Obviously, that is a part of it, but he was willing to share the ball, willing to defend. He kind of lost himself in the group a little bit. In a way that, I've been in the G League before this year in Osceola, and that doesn't always happen. So I was super excited that he just was willing to put in the work, willing to put in the time, and willing to be a part of the group and not be above the group. And I think the guys, really accepted him, helped him grow. One of the cool things about our team is we had younger guys, but almost like young vets. Mac was 25. DJ has been a first-round pick. Mie had, been in a rotation on a playoff team. So TQ, a bunch of guys who, in their mid-20s, so they've seen a few things around the league, so they were really able to kind of mentor him, and he was willing to accept that from his teammates, and so I think that really made the experience work for him and for us.
That's what I was going to go ahead and say. I mean, our team that we had was a unique team for the G League. You never really see a team with 6-7 NBA players on it, and like you said, it wasn't just any NBA players. I mean, DJ Wilson was on a competing team for a championship. They ended up winning the championship the year he got traded. But, you have Mie, like you said, a playoff team, and I don't think of that team as a playoff team. I think of them as a contender on the Jazz. I mean, they're Western Conference Finals, and he's in rotation. So when you have players like that, you have Mac going on an MVP season. It's kind of hard when you're the brand new kid at 19 years old to, maybe, you got picked in the lottery, but to think you have some kind of hierarchy. And like you said, he's mentally a great kid. I mean, every time Jet was more than willing to do everything, put in the work. Some nights he's A1, some nights he's option 2, or whatever it may be, just however the plays roll out for him and how hot his hand is that day.
Yeah, no, he was great, and I'm really excited for the work to pay off for him. He's been in the gym every day this summer in Orlando, and he looks really good. And I just, we had a shooting coach who was with Orlando a couple years ago, and he always used to say, like, if you put in the work, there's no guarantee that it's going to work out. But if you don't put in the work, it definitely won't work out. And so there's no guarantee for what Jet's career is going to look like, but he has set himself up for success in every way. And so, I'm really pulling for him for next season to capitalize on all the growth and the work he put in.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, it just has a right head on his shoulders, but kind of talking about someone else that took another, odd path of their career in a sense. What about you for coaching? I mean, your journey, I know you've told the story before, but maybe some of our fans don't know your story. I think it's a cool time to kind of talk about your journey as someone. I could have sworn you told me before your mom was a teacher. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I, didn't play in college. I wasn't a student manager. I wasn't a grad assistant. I'd always kind of wanted to get into sports writing, and so I did that a little bit in college, a little after college, and kind of most industries, right? Like you try to work hard and hopefully meet the right people and the right door opens, and that kind of happened for me with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, and that was in 2013, and started off as an intern there in basketball operations, and at the time, the D League only had 17 teams. We were one of the 3 independent teams, so we didn't have like a one-to-one relationship with anybody. We had, I think, 7 affiliates my first year. My second year, we had like 13 affiliates. So we were getting assignment guys from multiple teams at once. But it was cool because, I got a ton of opportunity to do a lot of things. I learned from, our head coach at the time, Connor Henry, who I still, am in touch with and have so much respect for. Steve Ganzi was the head coach my last year, and he was the one who actually hired me my first year. And then, he had been the G League head coach in Fort Wayne and then College Park. And, learned a ton from them and was able to grow. And, we won a championship my first year. Second year, made it back to the finals. And, from there, I had a year scouting for Atlanta, scouting the G League for them before they had College Park. And they had Erie for a year before then. And then, had a little stint in college as a GA for Ball State, and then kind of just got, not want to say a little lucky, got very lucky, and got a chance to interview for a job doing coaching analytics with Orlando, and did that for 2 years for Steve Clifford, and then he bumped me up as an assistant his final year here, and then again just got really lucky. Coach Mosley was willing to keep me on when we had the coaching change.
Might have been all the challenge calls you were winning back then.
I don't know about that. But yeah, and so, Coach Mose, I can't say enough about him and the job he's done here, but also just for me personally, the amount I've learned from him and the opportunity he's given me, to coach Summer League last year, to have the opportunity to coach Osceola this year. So, I feel like I'm in a great place in this organization, and I've been my whole journey's been a little topsy-turvy, a little weird. I don't have a traditional path, but really grateful for all the opportunity I've gotten.
But how many people do you think truly have a traditional path? Because there's a lot of people in the league or part of teams that don't have traditional paths. I know I don't have a traditional path. I didn't get into working for sports until I was about 30 years old. So for me, kind of similar to you, just in the writing sense. I mean, I know you kind of just went right over all of that, but all your blogging days, you were writing for, I guess, not directly for the Knicks, but coverage for the Knicks is what you were doing originally when you were writing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that and a few other places. Whoever would pay me, honestly. It's funny, like, it really wasn't a big part. Like, looking back, it really wasn't a huge part of my life. It was just kind of what I started doing. Mm-hmm. But, coaching basketball isn't what I've been doing for the last 11 years. With a little scouting in between and some coaching analytics, but I've been in, the basketball world now for 11 seasons. So, I think like anything, you have an imagination of what your career is going to look like, and then it kind of, no matter what industry you're in, it kind of just evolves in whatever path, kind of opens up in front of you. It's not like I've been seeking this or seeking that. Just opportunities have come open, and I've never been in a position to choose. I just say yes to whatever comes, and just been super fortunate. But no, it was a great experience in Osceola last season, and to kind of have landed where I have, I'm super thankful.
Well, it's kind of like that shooting coach that said, if you don't try, well, there's a guaranteed way that it's not going to work. If you do try, there's no guarantee, but set yourself up for the right positions in doing that. I mean, like you said, it's coming up from all these different paths that you're doing, whether it was getting into the Mad Ants originally. I mean, I'm sure that almost felt like a pinch me moment going to the Mad Ants, getting to do anything at all, just because you're going from writing for websites into, all right, I've got my foot into the world. And then you get your opportunity to work in the NBA organization for the Orlando Magic at the NBA level. And that's got to be a whole other pinch me moment. And then you get your coaching moment. Like, when did the reality ever set in? Has it ever set in? I mean, each day for me, anytime I get to come to the practices, to the arena, it's just, wow, this is work. I can't believe it. And so it's been 2 years for me. So I don't know, what's it like for you still at this point?
Yeah, I think you're just so focused on doing the job and doing it well. Maybe I haven't taken the time to reflect on that piece of it. I will say, though, like, the gratefulness, that strikes me all the time. Knowing how many people are interested in working in basketball, and how lucky I've been to get these opportunities. But, now that I'm here, you put your head down, you grind, and that's what I've learned from Coach Mose and all the coaches I worked for previously. Be grateful, but you're here now. Like, it's time to do the job and do it well. And, we work in a high pressure industry, and So I'll worry about pinching myself for that, when I retire. But for now, just focused on doing the job and doing the best I can for this organization.
Well, I like how you said sitting there being grateful, because I do see that throughout everybody in the organization. I see that throughout everybody in sports in general, because I mean we're all here for a reason, whether that's our passion for it. It's something that drives in you, because it takes a special person that goes ahead and puts in all the hours that it does. On my end, your hours are probably way crazier in the coaching world than it is for me even, and I feel like my hours can be crazy sometimes. So you're doing it, it's not just a job to you, it is your life in a lot of the ways. So yeah, I mean, we're all grateful for these opportunities, I would think, and that's really where it comes for, I guess, more on the pinch me moment. It's more of realizing, as I drive to work, I see a lot of people doing what they're doing for work, and I know how much I wanted to be in sports, and to actually have a chance to be here is, yeah, it's amazing, and it's great to be with the organization.
No question. And I think too, like, not every organization is the same, and so for me to have been with Orlando now for 6 seasons, is not normal in the NBA, and I think starting from Jeff Weltman, our president, we just have a big emphasis on growing people from within, and so that's been really cool for me to kind of have touched different parts of this organization, from being on the NBA coaching staff to the G League to doing the coaching analytics and touching some front office. So that's been really cool. But yeah, I'm excited just to keep going and see what's next, and excited for the next Osceola season, excited for Summer League, Orlando season. A lot of the prep work has already started, so we're already thinking about next year.
So when you get your call to going from assistant coach and saying, hey, there's an opportunity for you to be the head coach of the G League team, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously you're here, so you wanted to do it, but I mean, it's a big decision, because right now you're an assistant in the NBA, but yeah, what does that thought process go? How do you weigh out your options? Hey, do I want to keep being an assistant? Because you got people like Mose who went as an assistant for how many years in their career, a long time, and then they went to take the NBA head coach job, as opposed to you doing assistant for, like you said, 4 years, and then come in, or 5 years it might have been, and then come in to do the Osceola Magic head coaching job.
Yeah, this was something I always wanted. I felt like it was a way I could really serve our organization, having been in the G League before and knowing kind of the way this thing works. Another piece of it too, me being someone internal, I could carry out Coach Moses' vision in the G League, was something that was really exciting for me. And then I think, just the opportunity to carry out a vision of how you imagine running a basketball team, and then everyone has theories and what they would do in their head and all this, and then when you got to put it into practice, it's a whole nother beast. I mean, I remember talking to Coach Mose those first couple of weeks, and it's just like you're getting run over by a bus, to start the season. There's just so many things happening, and everything you think, half of the things you thought would work don't work. You're changing on the fly, and I just think about how much I learned this season, and in my opinion, there's no better way to learn how to coach than in the G League. You'll never get better opportunity with higher quality players. So for me, just to think about the level of coach I was 7 months ago compared to now, it's like almost embarrassing to think about what I was then, and so I think the G League is incredibly valuable from that standpoint. And I would argue even over the years, I remember like Nate Bjorkgren was the head coach of the Iowa Energy in my first year in the G League, or in the D League, and then he was the head coach of Indiana, and Nick Nurse and Chris Finch, and there's tons now. And so Mark Daignault took over the OKC Blue in my second year. So just the opportunity, I think, for coaches is arguably greater than for players. I mean, you really see more staff get called up now than players, and obviously a lot of players still get called up too, but I recommend it to everybody. I think if your goal is to improve your craft, there's no better place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, even like when you're saying, for example, like Coach Missoula had some time in the G with back when it was the Red Claws, and then Emil Jefferson is a coach with with the Celtics. He played in Lakeland. He played for the Orlando Magic, was a second-round pick. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways to move up in it. When you're looking at coaching, I think a lot of people might look at it as X's and O's. And me being at a lot of the practices, I see it's more than X's and O's. How much is it for you trying to cultivate good values almost into these young men to become a team? How does that part play into it?
Yeah, that a lot of that has to do with Coach Mose and just trying to carry his vision out with Osceola. To make sure that the values we care about in Orlando, humility, playing hard, playing with an edge, it being about more than yourself. Those are things that we want to bring to Osceola too. So I'm always, trying to be around Orlando as much as possible, even during the Osceola season, to make sure I'm doing that with our group. But yeah, I mean, the X's and O's are obviously a big piece of it. But if talent were additive, then you'd just take all the best players, put them on one team, and win the title. But we know that's not what happens. And I think one of the cool things about basketball, because there is only one basketball, adding a talent doesn't mean you're going to get equal parts addition in output. And so finding that right mix of personalities, players, Kevin Tiller, our GM, did a great job putting our roster together from all that standpoint. So, how you cultivate those relationships, player to player, coach to player, coach to coach, GM to player, GM to coach. I mean, it just crisscrosses in a million different ways. Really, really critical. And so everything you do is cultivating that in one way or the other. You're either allowing behavior or you're encouraging it, so definitely something I cared about a lot and something we tried to be good at. And, like everything, you have areas that you want to do better in the next season. But I was proud of what we were able to do, led by, Kevin, our GM, and the tone he set from that. And then, trying to take what Coach Mose wanted us to do here and implement it.
Yeah, I always tell Kevin, you can see from when you walk into practice, obviously there's, like anything, there's good days, there's bad days, depending what happened at the game before. But every day that you come into practice, everyone's really happy to be there at practice. It's very family oriented in the facility. It seems like everyone cares about everyone. Everyone greets everyone as we go in. It's a great time. And I don't know if that's just how it works with Orlando as well. I'm sure it does. And it's just all the items that are brought down towards us. Question though, burrito plays. Is that something that you came up with? Is that from Mose? Is it from prior, before? Can you kind of explain the burrito plays for any of our listeners over here?
Yeah, that was actually there's a book called The Only Rule Is It Has to Work. But these guys who used to write for Fangraphs in baseball, like baseball stat site, and they took over like a minor league baseball team, like several rungs below single A. And so they tried to basically use analytics to run the whole organization, but they spoke with a psychologist and talked about how they could motivate players. And I'm misremembering it, and obviously I made some liberal adjustments to it. But the idea is how do we create an incentive structure for guys to perform behaviors we want in a way that's fun and incentivizing, and not just give them money or something, Yeah. So we came up with, we called them the burrito board, and there were burrito plays. Basically any major hustle play, you got a burrito sticker, and then on your 10th sticker, I bought you a free burrito. Kind of you go to a sandwich shop, your 10th one, you get a free sandwich or whatever. So that was kind of our motivation for hustle plays. And, after every game, we would show the burrito plays and just, get guys going. We did a top 10 burrito plays of the season halfway through after All-Star. And we just, it just became a funny thing where guys are yelling for burritos in the middle of the game on the bench and stuff like that. So, like I said before, you have some things that work and some things that don't. That was one I was going to hammer home and made sure it worked. I wanted that to work badly. So
that was a grand slam. That worked. Players would come in the next day after games saying, "Did you get my burrito play? Did you get my burrito play? Where's my burrito sticker?" Yeah. They loved it, and it's funny seeing adults. We all get back into that fun culture when you implement fun things like that. We're all excited about a burrito. Players can go buy a burrito, but it's just a fun incentive that brings that environment alive here. It makes it really.
And I'm not sure how much they actually wanted to go out to lunch with me, but, just the incentive of getting some free stuff, I think, was cool, even if it was really only like $9, So I told them no guac, though. It's the G League, so I can't afford guac. So
no guac, no queso. We got to keep it pretty bare here.
Yeah. No extra stuff.
So you go ahead and you've been working all summer. What's it like for you? Because obviously the G League season's over. The G League players are kind of back in their home market. You're here right now, so are you just working with a lot of the Orlando players during this time frame?
Yeah, so I'm just up with Orlando right now. Whatever the staff needs, just helping out in any way I can. Off-season workouts for the players. Obviously, we've had draft workouts going on, all that stuff. So just kind of just being an extra body, an extra mind for whatever is necessary. And then, obviously communicating with Kevin and our coaching staff and just kind of figuring out, what next year's going to look like and the parts that we can control. The roster doesn't really kind of get settled up until after Summer League. So just making a plan of attack for what we're going to do in Summer League, what kind of players we're looking for, staff, all that stuff. So really just kind of getting your ducks in a row from an Osceola standpoint and then helping out Orlando in any way I can.
With that being said, what's your favorite part of this summer? Or is this summer much different than your other ones? What's your favorite thing to do over the summer when it's just kind of that break?
Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome to be in the gym every day and just working out with guys. I think, like, in the chaos of the season, sometimes you lose some of that that time from a player development standpoint, especially some of the heavier minute guys. It's just you're trying to keep them off their feet so they're ready to go for games. So just being able to help guys work on their crafts and teach the game from an elementary standpoint, I think it's a lot of the reason why a lot of coaches get into this thing in the first place. So really having that time to dig in with detail and be on the floor is really a lot of fun.
It's awesome, yeah. I got a few more things left for you, and then I'll let you go, Coach. I really appreciate it. These ones are more fun ones, so kind of just a few little rapid-fire ones. What are you watching right now? What TV shows? Are you watching any TV shows, any good movies during the summer? Do you and your wife Netflix binge anything?
We're big on true crime. So any like new true crime thing that comes out, I'm all over. I'm about to start Madam Secretary.
I'm not familiar with that.
Some silly CBS show. But yeah, I mean that's probably the two main ones right now. My wife watches any reality cooking show, so that's always on in our house. Top Chef, whatever it is. Master Chef Junior, whatever. So that's always on TV. So
the cake? Are you guys is it cake people?
Yeah, Great British Bake Off. All those. So we'll watch whatever one of those. So and then gotta watch Game 7 tonight. Oilers and Panthers. So that'll be.
Who are you pulling for that one?
I'm a neutral observer. I got no dog in the fight in that one. Just love a good Game 7. So.
Always a good time. All right, since you guys see my big foodies, this is the next one. If you can give me like 3 places in Orlando that you love to go eat.
Okay, Black Rooster is number 1.
Where's that at?
It's on Mills Avenue. My opinion, they're the best tacos in Orlando.
Okay.
So that'd be my number 1. Lazy Moon. Pizza.
Yeah.
I like Lazy Moon a lot. That's pretty good. And I'm trying to vary the food style. Although I am a big taco guy, so that's part of the problem.
It's okay, I am
too. Chicken Fire on Colonial.
Okay.
Really, really good. So.
My suggestions that I've gotten from people so far was Admiral told me Rocco's Tacos. Have you been to Rocco's Tacos? That's over by your place.
I don't love it, to be honest.
Me neither.
I'm not a big Rocco's Tacos guy. I'm not anti Rocco's Tacos, but I wouldn't put it on my.
The atmosphere is just it's cool, but it's not my atmosphere. And some of the younger people on the staff, the guys in their 20s, that's their atmosphere. So they love going to Rocco's Tacos, and that's one of their good ones. Cole then told me Cristini's, which have you been to Cristini's yet?
No, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. I went there for my wife's wedding anniversary, and I realized the pay difference between me and Cole Anthony and why that's like one of his regular spots and it's my anniversary dinner. But it was a really good experience. We had a great time.
Good.
We had a great time. It was like the coolest experience restaurant I've had in Orlando so far. So if you ever have an opportunity, maybe your guys' anniversary.
All right. I'll add it to the list.